So the Diddy trial starts tomorrow. It's a big deal. The whole world will be watching. It is in federal court, so it will not be televised, which sucks. But I've been snooping about in the court filings for this Diddy trial, and I found this government's motion in limine to preclude expert testimony of Dr. Eli Aoun. So basically, from this and looking into it and reading into it, what I found is that what I think Diddy's defense is going to be, or part of his defense, he's going so a crime requires a mens rea, which is the intention, and an actus rea, which is the act itself. Like, for example, you may have the intention to kill someone. You need to prove that there is intent, and then you also need to prove that you put that knife in that person, the act itself, right? So what Diddy is going to try to argue is that the mens rea was not present because he was under the influence, and he's going to use expert testimony from this Dr. Eli Aoun to try to argue that he did not have the requisite mental state to be able to meet the element of the intent to commit the crimes alleged. So let's read through this preliminary statement because everything else is pretty much redacted. So let's go through this preliminary statement, which gives us quite a bit of information as to what arguments P. Diddy's defense counsel are going to try to present. All right. And their job is to poke holes in the prosecutor's case, right? So a prosecutor will present a case, and a defendant can just sit quiet. He's not required to review any of the evidence the prosecutor presents. But in this case, Diddy's counsel is going to try to poke hole in the prosecutor's case, right? In the prosecutor's arguments, in the prosecutor's evidence, in the prosecutor's witnesses, and so on and so forth. So one element that they're going to try to go for is to argue that due to the influence probably of the drugs that he was consuming, he did not have the requisite intent to commit some of those crimes. Let's go through this preliminary statement which covers this, all right? The government respectfully submits this memorandum of law in support of its motion to preclude the opinion testimony of Dr. Eli Aoun. The notice testimony relates to the defendant's diminished capacity to form the mens rea, which is the intention required to commit the charged offenses. In other words, a mental condition bearing on the issue of guilt. Do you see what I mean? So he's going to try to present evidence that his mental condition, probably due to either health issues or due to drugs, made it such that he could not have the requisite intent to commit the crime. All right. Testimony of this nature is narrowly circumscribed by the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure and Evidence. All right, that's all. All right, and so that's all just legal jargon. But basically, what we have here, defendant intends to offer the testimony of Dr. Eli G. Aoun, MD, who is an assistant professor of clinical psychiatry at Columbia University and forensic psychiatrist in New York City. According to expert notice, Dr. Aoun reviewed, so that the evidence that he reviewed is redacted. He did not actually examine the defendant himself, apparently. On the basis of the records reviewed, as well as his training and expertise, Dr. Aoun is expected to testify. All that stuff is redacted. But basically, I think he's expected to testify that he could not have the requisite mental intent to meet the mens rea, the intent element of committing the crime. All right. I'm sorry to get into some legal jargon with you guys, but I'm just trying to show you ahead of time a sneak peek of what the defense is going to try to argue. All right. And you mark my words. I'm telling you this, guys, now, and you're going to see it in the news once the trial starts, once it gets to that point where witnesses are testifying and experts are testifying. You'll see that this argument will be presented, all right? I mean, it has not been denied yet, I guess. So, all right. All right, well, please like, comment, and subscribe, guys. I'm gonna try to keep you updated. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I plan to make many, many more. And let's go through all these trials and learn all these things together. All right. Bye.